Hey everyone, welcome back. This is John. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Friends with Your Benefits. Today we have Chris Chan back, our expert on digital health solutions. Chris, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks for having me, John.
So Chris, you mentioned in an earlier video all these digital therapeutics that DarioHealth has to offer under its umbrella. You also mentioned that DarioHealth does offer these solutions to employers. So the question for you really is, what value does DarioHealth perhaps offer to employers out there in the healthcare space?
Employers have been going through really tough times over the last couple of years, trying to manage the virtual workforce and the pandemic, and everyone's going through the great resignation right now, trying to keep the talent that they have and attract new talents. And certainly the health of the workforce, the employee experience, is very important to that equation, and employers are trying to figure out how to manage costs and risk and attract talent. And so on the Dario side, we help support the whole employee's health and their family's health. We have a whole product suite of cool devices like our glucometer kit that plugs into your phone. We have the MSK sensor that you're reviewing on the Upright Go side. We have a connected blood pressure cuff, all these things connecting to your phone. And as a consumer company, we're available on Amazon and Apple and Walmart, and people can buy these things themselves. They like the shiny objects, they like the experience that Dario provides. But if an employer were to offer this as part of their benefits plan, then that's something cool and neat and different that employers trying to do. And also the employers get to help manage their risks and their costs at the same time. I remember from the consulting side, sitting with employer clients, looking at annual reports from the health plan, and you see these bar charts of the risks and costs and prevalence related to hypertension and diabetes and MSK issues. And what is often hard to appreciate is the amount of overlap of risk. It's very unusual to find someone who just has diabetes. Most people who have diabetes have something else going on, some other challenge that they're trying to work through. And so many of these things are interrelated. I might have certain food triggers that I turn to help deal with stress or anxiety. And the extra pounds that I'm carrying on my body lead to extra strain on my joints and maybe chronic pain issues. Or I might not be able to move as fast as I want to keep up with my kids, and I might sprain something or stress something. And so we support all of these different issues and connect a user with a coach to work with them, to motivate them, and then use our devices to track data, look at trends, identify gaps, and personalize the experience for our users.
Right. So Chris, I guess as a follow-up question, so let's say an employer wants to implement DarioHealth, right? We know one of these challenges out there is how to actually engage the members and how to get them to take a look at that postcard or that email from HR. Regardless of if employer picks DarioHealth or one of the other solutions out there, what would you recommend for an employer to actually get their employees and their dependents who happen to need this technology to get engaged and utilize what's available to them?
We'll do two different approaches. One is a multi-channel marketing and promotion plan to build general awareness. We have some very light assessments that we will take people through to make sure that they're dealing with an issue or challenge that we can help support. But we will also do targeted outreach. We'll look at the claims data. We'll look at people who are diagnosed. We don't want to outreach in a creepy or big brother fashion, but we use that to help pinpoint our outreach to those that are highest risk or highest in need. So those are things that we would do directly. We also work through our partners, whether it's through the health plan channel, a third-party administrator who's running a benefits enrollment platform, concierge service or an advocacy service. There are wellness companies that have platforms as well, and we'll partner and message and integrate through all of those types of organizations as well.
Very interesting, Chris. So Chris, do you have any evidence to support that these digital devices actually work? Previously, you had mentioned the glucometer that seems interesting, but love to hear from you on what Dario has in terms of data to support that these devices work.
So one of the reasons why I came to Dario was the amount of clinical focus and clinical rigor that we have as an organization. We have 28 published clinical studies looking at the variety of different conditions that we support. Specific to hemoglobin A1C and diabetes, we have 3 different studies that show our continuous improvement of 1.4%, which is dramatic for the population with diabetes that we're working with. And that can equate to thousands of dollars per user that we're engaged with when we achieve that result. So we've looked at it related to high blood pressure, weight loss, stress, anxiety, chronic pain, and then how these things intersect together and how we can motivate and improve the health from multiple dimensions.
Right. So Chris, I guess just on a separate front. So as we've seen over the last few years, while the percentage of employers offering high deductible health plans on a full replacement basis has declined, we've seen that high deductible health plans, particularly with HSAs, that enrollment continues to go up. And latest stat that I saw is about 40% of employees are now enrolled in these HSA eligible plans. My question for you is if an employer decided to roll out Dario Health, are these devices considered to be HSA eligible? In other words, could an employer decide to waive the deductible for these devices or perhaps offer it at no cost share to employees?
Generally considered preventive. We would direct any employer to seek their legal counsel for final determination, but we generally don't have issues with HSA high deductible compliance. And then part of that's motivating for the individual member as well. If they're faced with a higher deductible and cost and expense that they may have to pay for upfront, working through a digital therapeutic channel like ourselves, working with a coach, helping address some of the issues that they're facing before having to go see a specialist necessarily.
Chris, very, very helpful. Thank you so much for joining us today. And in a future video, and actually, if you click right here, we're going to have Chris back. And Chris is actually going to tell us 5 steps that individuals can take to improve their heart health. Thank you so much, Chris. Really appreciate you joining us today.
Thanks, John.
And there's nobody out there like I am.